Hey, what's going on, everybody? Julie Murphy here. 25 plus years being a financial planner, I've learned a couple things, and I want to help you get to a life that you love. So, today, what we're going to chat about is how do you get into an empowered state when it comes to our retirement planning? Like, some of you may think that retirement planning is way down the road, some of you is like it's way too late, and some of you are in between. And so I just want to help you guys get to a life that you love, regardless of the reality that you're sitting in. So don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe, and like. Why? Because then you can get notified when it is that I'm giving my next tip and tool. And we can start to have financial wellness more around this world where we have a lot of fiscal dysfunction these days. So I put the link below for get your free book today. Go to awakenyourwealthbook.com and I will pay for the book. You pay for the shipping and we can be team members on that. So let's jump into this whole thing about retirement planning. Why? Because, I've been having conversations with clients lately about the fact that not many people have pension plans anymore. So I thought, let me give you a little bit of history in terms of the fact that, pension plans used to be how a lot of our parents and grandparents actually had their money for retirement. And somebody took care of it for you, or just part of the system. And then all of a sudden, we were no longer part of a system because pension plans became very expensive. And in the early 80s, then we wound up with 401k plans and 403b plans. And I have so many people, like people, particularly if they're teachers or professors, they have all these different plans. There's so many of them, they don't even know what to do. And it's really interesting. There was a lawsuit that was actually just filed against a university here in Illinois because they got sued because there's too many options. They didn't know what to do. And it's like, okay, enough. Meaning, stop suing people for you not stepping into doing your own retirement planning. Stop blaming the employers of what they're doing. Stop blaming the government. Stop blaming anything, because here's what it boils down to. If you're blaming or if you're suing or if you're going after people, that means you are in your stuff. What do I mean by that? My other videos, I talk about that we as human beings have two operating systems, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And if you're in victim mode, you are in your suffering patterns. And this is your subconscious mind running the engine. And I know you have very valid reasons for that. We have suffering cycles, we struggle. It's what happens to us when we come in as human beings. We have some kind of event that causes us some kind of rejection or trauma before we're age 7. I talk about this all the time. And what it's done is it's put us in a place of not being in financial empowerment. So I'm here today to help you to get through this patterning, to get to this other side so that you can live a life that you love and get out of this patterning that is really trapping so many people these days. So the patterning is about how do we shift to empowerment? So when we start to have an external referral, like you're sitting here going, well, it's this person's fault, or it's that person's fault, or I don't have enough cash flow, or I'm not getting pay raises, whatever the story is that you have built around it, which could be a very valid story. I'm not saying that it's not valid. I'm just saying that you only have the reality that you have created thus far. Whether you have too much debt, too little assets for retirement, or started too late, whatever that is, you can shift it here and now in a heartbeat. I find that when we had this history of pension plans where it was just taken care of for us, it's kind of like we just kind of did our thing. We worked for the same employer and then they took care of us in retirement. Well, yes, those were the good old days. That's not happening. About 5 years ago, statistics were showing that pension plans were going from 15% of the population in the United States would have them down to 3%. And you start to see that with people who are in their 20s. They don't have the same pensions, even if you're in the same employer as before, because they are being weeded out. They're very old, very expensive type things to run. So now we have 401ks, 403bs, and many other different types of what they call defined contribution plans, which means you as the employee are contributing yourself. It's not something that's given to you as a benefit, but you are contributing. So, how do we move to empowerment on these contribution plans? Well, I often hear, well, I'm getting all my free money. And I always say to clients, well, if you want to retire someday, that's not going to be enough. I also have people say to me, well, there was a market downturn and I stopped putting my money in. And I'm like, well, do you not want to retire one day? And they go, oh, I never thought about that. It's just that the market was falling apart. And so I stopped putting it in. I'm like, well, you could choose one way that you can move to financial empowerment with retirement planning is saying, I'm not going to stop putting my money in. If I'm really afraid, then maybe I just put it in something different. Like you certainly have to go on your own risk tolerance, and you can go to my website, juliemurphy.com, and we have risk tolerances to measure your left brain as well as your right brain because you have a whole brain and you need to take your emotions and your logic and you need to combine them. That is my recommendation for when you look at your risk tolerance. But it's about you want to retire, and that is your responsibility. If you want to, at some juncture, to stop working, then choose to create that. It's not about no pay raises. It's not about the government's not providing it. It's not about anything except for the fact that you, my friend, can create any life that you want. You just have to decide to do it. And so while we're doing things like helping to clear our subconscious patterning so that we can open up to the world that we want to create, and I have lots of other videos on that you can watch. But when it comes to retirement planning, the safe place, so I was talking about people don't expand unless there is a container for safety. And so this safe place, I have learned through the years to help people in their retirement planning is look at the newfound money that you have. And how do I define newfound money? So we don't like to be told that I can't live the lifestyle that I'm living. We want to live the way we want to live. And we got enough of that going around in the world these days, right? People trying to tell us how to live, vaccine, no vaccine, this quarantine, don't quarantine, whatever, right? There's lots of that. So this is about you saying, okay, I'm going to live the lifestyle that I want to live. Now, the newfound money are things like you do get a pay raise. People will say to me, well, Jewel, I only got 2%. I'm like, I don't care. It's still new money that you never had before. Okay. Pay raises, tax returns, inheritance, bonuses, newfound money. Maybe you paid off your car, so you now have X amount per month. That's new money. It's about that newfound money. Feed your intentions that you have to create the life that you want to have. So, as an example, if you got a 3% pay raise, you take half of that. Okay, that's a bad number because it needs to be even. If you have a 4% pay raise, take half of that, it's 2%. And so you take 2% and you increase your 401k from maybe a 5% contribution level up to a 7% because you increased it by 2%. And you're not doing all of it because you're increasing your lifestyle. You might be increasing your debt payoff amount and you're increasing your savings. That's what I call about cleaning up your past, so paying some of it to your debt, living in the present moment and using it to spend today, and planning for the future that you want to create all at the same time. So that is a second way that you actually can step into financial empowerment because you actually are saying, okay, with the new money that I get in any of those categories, whether you paid stuff off or new raises, new bonuses, tax returns, inheritance, any of those things, it's not going to affect your dailiness today. That is what creates the safe container for you to step into it because we're not telling you you're doing anything wrong by taking away from what you have today to create tomorrow. Because on some level, we think that we're shaming ourselves or we're blaming like, why didn't I do better? Right? And then we beat ourselves up. The thing that is also going to help you step into your empowerment when it comes to retirement planning is that you're actually doing it. So pension plans were something that somebody else took care of and you didn't have to really actually step into it. 401k plans, 403b plans, 457s, depending on which one your employer has. Some of you might have annuities at your work if you're in the trades. But you saying, I'm going to participate in this and I'm going to continue to grow it. I don't care what age you are. You can only start in your current reality at your current age. So it's just about starting to create it. You have no idea that when you start to step more into your financial empowerment, how much more things are going to show up, bigger raises, bigger bonuses, bigger everything. The money is just the result of you aligning with your heart and soul and doing what you love, because that creates higher vibration for you. Then you're going to step into it and be able to get more and receive more, because you're stepping into it from a place of being in your power and not being a victim of the system. We need to stop as a whole being the victim of the financial system, whether it's down markets or employer things or whatever side of the tracks that you grew up on. Because trust me, I grew up one of 12 children. I didn't have any money growing up, and I made choices to create my life exactly what it is today. So if you're telling me you can't, I know you can, because I've already done it. And I'm a chick, and I went into a man's industry, and I broke down all the barriers. So I know anybody can do it. So when you decide to start to step into your financial empowerment, you are going to start creating a life that you love. I want you to look at it from a place of, instead of going, oh, well, this has happened, say, you know what? No, here are my menu of options. I have options, I have choices. And what is the menu look like? Consider it like a menu as opposed to a death sentence or that you're in financial jail. Like, it's amazing to me how much negativity comes out of our mouths about our money. And then you don't create any more money. You don't attract any more money because of the way you're speaking about it and the way you're thinking about it and the way you feel about it. Because the way we think, speak, and feel about anything creates that reality. So we have to shift it from the inside out. It's like I talk about with my first book. It's about the emotion behind money. The subtitle is Building Your Wealth from the Inside Out. We have to, on the inside, think, speak, and feel what we want our money to be for us, as opposed to what we don't want our money to be for us. So look at things like it's a menu of options. You may not love the whole menu, just no different than going to a restaurant, but choose the most empowering choice on that menu as opposed to being victim to whatever those things on the menu are. I hope that was helpful for you today. And if you need any more help, go to juliemurphy.com. We are here to get you to a life that you love, and we will get there soon. Take care. Bye.